With MQTT, a publisher sends a message with a topic to a broker, then sends that message to other clients which have subscribed to a particular topic. In the last 2 weeks, we created an MQTT publisher and a client using Raspberry Pis. This week, let's complete the trio with a Raspberry Pi MQTT broker. Hi, I'm Mark Neiman Ross, and welcome to this week's edition of Raspberry Pi Weekly. Every week, we explore the Raspberry Pi and share useful tips. To create a Raspberry Pi MQTT broker, first update and install some software. Use sudo apt-get update and then sudo apt-get upgrade. When you've updated your Raspberry Pi, be sure to go ahead and reboot. After you've rebooted, install the Mosquito Broker software. Notice that this is a different software than used for MQTT client and publishers. After you've installed the Mosquito Broker software, go ahead and reboot your computer again. The MQTT broker runs as a system service. You can set it up to run at reboot by opening a terminal window and then typing sudo systemctl enable mosquitto. Check to make sure it's running by typing in sudo systemctl status mosquito. This indicates the Mosquito Broker is running. You can hit Control-C to get out of that program. The Mosquito Broker will continue to run. Now, to connect to this broker, you'll need to know the IP address of this Raspberry Pi. You can get that by typing in hostname -capital I, not lowercase I. In this case, my broker is running at 10.16.18.195. Write that number down because you'll need it in a minute. Now I'm ready to point the publisher and the client at my new broker. So what I'll need to do is go over to the publisher Raspberry Pi, open the MQTT publisher.py program from the exercise files, and change the broker location from mqtt.eclipse.org to the IP address of our new broker. In this case, 10.16.18.195. Save that, and then run the code. Our publisher is now talking to the MQTT broker running on our other Raspberry Pi. To complete the loop, I need to set up the client. Now go to the Raspberry Pi operating as a client. Edit the MQTT client Python program using Thonny. And just like we did for the publisher, change the broker location. Just like we did with the publisher, change the broker location to point to the new broker. In my case, that's 10.16.18.195. Save that change, and then run the client software. What you'll observe is when I push the button on the MQTT publisher, the light attached to the MQTT client lights up. This demonstrates messages going from the publisher through the broker and then into the client. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Raspberry Pi Weekly. Be sure to join the LinkedIn group and check out previous episodes on LinkedIn Learning. I'll see you next week with more Raspberry Pi adventures.